Just wait to see if anyone comes on. I was live yesterday and I had a good couple of people. Well, I had a couple of people come on, and we had a good chat. And as I'm on annual leave, I thought I'd go again, just making sure the microphone's on. Yeah, I'll give a minute. Usually it takes a delay. I got my phone going so I can check the comments and stuff. It usually delays it. We go notification of the live. So same as people online here, but on my screen it's not showing anything. But there's usually a delay. So yeah, I've been messing around with this tank. I tested the ammonia on it this morning. It still hasn't come down anything. I'm trying to get the ammonia down to get it cycled, and the only thing that's coming down is the temperature. So the temperature gone up to 15 degrees, and I'm thinking, yeah, we'll get a cycle going. But unfortunately, the temperature's coming down, not going up. So as we all know, as the temperature goes down, the speed of the cycling goes down. So kind of in limbo, waiting for that to cycle so I can get some fish in there. And then I've got a plan to quarantine in this tank. I was talking about it yesterday, and then once I've quarantined in this, I might put the fish in the house for 12 months in a bigger tank, so like a 400 litre tank, and it'll give me 12 months to keep an eye on the fish, grow them out, and feeding them like a balanced diet. I was thinking of getting all sorts of like stuff I've wanted to try over the years, like auto feeders and just little bits of kit that I've always fancied trying, because I always talk about little and often, and obviously I work 12-hour shifts, so I could do like set it for every 4 hours, and then I could feed manual in the evening, do like veg and protein, like live foods or frozen bloodworm, brine shrimp, stuff like that would be great for me to be able to play with that in the house. But that's the plan. Once this is cycled, get some fish to quarantine. I'll go to the fish shop and maybe do a fish shop tour and stuff like that. I know the guy from the local fish shop's really supportive of the channel, and he's basically told me I can do whatever sort of recording I want in there, and it's been a big help for me, you know. So it's great for me to be able to have that sort of spot where you can just go to a shop, and you know the aquarium hobby's quite close knit, isn't it? So if you can get the shop and record whenever you want, I can order stuff in and help me out ordering stuff in. And I've had a few people who help me get stuff in a sort of situation like they can order stuff from wholesale for me, do you know what I mean? So I can order it in, and I'm not paying extortionate prices. Sometimes you end up paying like really high prices, don't you, for stuff? And when you're doing projects like with fish keeping, when you're paying high prices for everything, it can be hard. It can slow projects down and stuff like that. And availability as well, because it's only around the corner. I can go in, I can record what I want, I can order stuff from off his books, and it helps me do projects and stuff. So that's going to be a big help moving forward. I really would like to use this tank and then use the bigger tank in the house, make some nice content in there, and then what I'd like to do is go in the garden with a pond. I've been looking at a few koi videos and stuff as well, and a lot of the stuff people are doing in the koi hobby is stuff I'd like to try with my hobby. So I'll be keeping an eye on that side of things. I found one koi YouTube channel that I'm finding really interesting. There's a guy local to me actually called Kashi's Koi, and I find his setup, he's got a setup pond like the way koi keepers have the ponds now, where it's raised, and they've got like a shed similar to this basically, but they've got all the filtration on one wall. And I was thinking I could do that with this. I could have want my filtration on more, and then I can keep the quarantine tank, so I can use it as a hospital tank if I ever need it. Obviously these filters I can stick in a cycle tank, and I'm absolutely flying then if I ever need to treat anything. But he's also got a like a paddling pool in a polytunnel, and he uses that to breathe in spring, and that's something I'd be interested in trying. Do a backflip, but I can't. I did the fish tank. Sorry about that, mate. And I'm a bit old to be doing backflips, mate. But apart from that, yeah, you have to picture me doing a backflip. So yeah, that's my goal for the summer, maybe. And if I can grow them out enough this year, then I can get them out in the garden. If not, I can keep them in the display tank. So that's not a problem. I'm thinking of ordering some aquatic plants online. I've got an idea for kind of like a display, if that makes sense, and like not so much an aquascape, just like kind of like a little display, and keep the whole tank bare bottomed and stuff like that, so it's easy to clean out, because ultimately I'd like to be able to break it down quickly and stuff like that. And if I ever need to move anything about, because I'd like to be able to get a few projects going at the same time, and that'd help me out a lot. Just checking on the stats while I'm here. So that's something I'm thinking of doing, and then because I'm getting stuck back into doing my own thing, I've been checking out. I was watching live streams last night. I was watching Adam's 7 fish tanks. I jumped on to watch his live stream, and he's been talking about. He was talking about Horizon and aquarium gardens. Obviously, they're big aquascaping wholesalers and stuff like that. So, well, not wholesalers, but shops. They're online shops, aren't they? And he was showing his tanks off, and it's nice to see how he's progressed. He had nano tanks, and now he's kind of scaled up his tanks to the likes of a full saltwater system, and then he's got the fluval. He's running a CO2 in his tank. That was nice to see that. And he had another tank on the top shelf that he's done an upcoming video on, so that'll be interesting to watch that video. He also had I think it was an African, yeah, it was an African biotype. That was a nice little tank. So it's nice to see how he's changed from last time I was watching his lives. I know he said he doesn't go live as much anymore on YouTube, which is a shame, because this was one of the lives I used to jump on and watch regularly. So I think a lot of people who were doing lives on here over the last couple of years have migrated over to TikTok, which, you know, is what it is, isn't it? But yeah, and then I checked out JT, and he was doing clean. He's got like a little aquarium shop in his garage, hasn't he? It's not that little, to be honest. It's quite a. I've been in smaller shops than he's got in his garage, to be honest. And he was cleaning all his tanks out and stuff. It was interesting to see what he's up to. He's also set up a pond in his garden, like a nature pond, which looked quite cool. And then I went on Jeff's live stream, Jeff Pelham. No, not really. Do you? And then when I was on his live stream, I had like loads of people subbing to my channel from his. It was a bit surreal to go on someone else's live and then see your subs have gone up by like 20 in the space of half an hour. When sometimes you spend weeks trying to get one sub, don't you? So that was cool. It's been interesting, and then going back onto YouTube to watch. If I'm honest, I kind of haven't been up to date with watching some of the content. I've been watching a guy called Gil from Australia, and he's built like a 4,000 litre plywood tank, and the size of the tank is absolutely massive. It's insane. If anyone in this chat is into fish keeping, go and check out his go and check out that video on his like 10,000 litres, sorry, 4,000 litres I think he said it was. I think it was 1,000 gallons. That's like serious size fish tank. I've never seen, the biggest tank I've seen with my own eyes is like 1,000, and that was like 10 foot long by like 2 foot wide, and then about 2 foot high as well. It's a serious piece of infrastructure in someone's kitchen, that like. Let's have a look at the and is it by magic I've just been talking about your video, been saying about your was it 1,000 gallons, 4,000 litres? I was watching that this morning. It's a seriously impressive piece of infrastructure. But yeah, I've just been saying, I was on Jeff's live stream this morning on my in the chat on my other channel. Hello. And no, I don't do fishing. No, I keep fish. Don't catch fish. Are you like me, Gil? I was like forever starting projects and never finishing them. I mean, at the moment, it's like, for me, this is kind of like a pre-project. I've set this tank up, trying to get it cycled, and the ammonia's been at like 2 parts per million for 8 days now, and it just hasn't budged. And instead of the nitrate, the ammonia coming down, the temperature's dropping, so it's kind of killing the cycle. So but I want to get some fish in here, get them quarantined, and then get them in the display tank in the house. So waiting for that to kind of drive me up the wall, to be honest. I'm coming out, checking it first thing every morning, checking in ammonia and nitrates, and it's not moving at the moment. But we endure, and then once I've got them in the house, then I want to try and use this a few times to get a few quarantines done of different fish, and then what I'd like to do is move it and get some ponds set up in the garden. That's the plan. But whether it all happens this year or drags into next year, I don't really mind. I'm looking forward to the process rather than the end, if that makes sense. It's stuff that I've wanted to do for years, and I'm going back to all the stuff that I wanted to do years ago and achieving that. So I'm kind of not worried about the end goal. It's more about the process and enjoying all the bits and pieces that get you to the end, if that makes sense. But I've got no ambition to rush it. I'd rather just enjoy the process and do everything I've learned over the years, if that makes sense, like putting that into practice, because the stuff I've done wasn't built in a day. Like, that's true. And sometimes, yeah, I think you enjoy the process, the journey a lot, and then once you've finished everything you set out to achieve, then you kind of like, well, what like, I've been so preoccupied with all this that you just your brain thinks, what next, what now? Everything I wanted to get done, I've done, so now what do we do next? How are you anyway, Gil? Are you all right? It's definitely been entertaining watching you setting that fish room of yours up. It's absolutely huge. I don't own enough land to have that building and my house at the same time, so right, so looks like this is still on, but the chat's gone down on this. So, as I say, I haven't streamed for a long time, so it's all teething problems, isn't it? And the more we do it, the more we iron them out. So, I always find I'm off work this week, and I always find if I do a few live streams in a row, it kind of gets me a lot further down the line than if I was just doing one a week. You kind of find all the little niggly problems with your live streaming and stuff. And I've noticed this one, if I sit back, the light completely changes. But I'm finding still no chat on here. Like, that's definitely something I've learned over the time of live streaming. Keep a second device around so you can keep an eye on the stream, otherwise it can catch you off guard. But I was talking to Jeff. I missed your live stream. Oh yeah, I was well, it's all good. It's kind of getting me back in the swing of live streaming, because Jeff Pelham's been asking me to go live with him, and I really enjoy Jeff's lives. It's something, if he asks me, I always do. I never say no to going on with Jeff. And obviously he's doing a lot of streaming with Ron, isn't he? And like, I really like Ron. I like his style of aquariums and fish keeping and stuff. He does like the community planted tanks, doesn't he? And you know, what's not to love with community planted tanks. And he does a lot of breeding, doesn't he? Bits and pieces of breeding, which everyone loves seeing baby fish, don't they? And if they don't, they're telling you fibs, I think, because nothing gets you pumped in the hobby like when you've made more fish. So it'll be nice to get on alive with them too and have a chat with them, because I'll say the last 12 months I've been so busy in work, and I haven't had. I ended up shutting this fish room down because I basically wasn't. I was literally coming in to clean the tanks and feed them and do water change. Hello? Okay, I've got a cup of tea. Where's my cup? Cheers, Jen. I'll have to shut the door now. Sorry guys, it's a bit unfortunately getting close-ups of my face. Have you ever bred cardinal tetras? I never bred any tetras. The only egg scatterers I've ever bred was I can't wait. The only egg scatterers I've ever bred, interestingly enough, is rainbows. Excuse me. I'd love to get another rainbow tank, but I haven't got the space for a tank big enough for both Monai or anything like that, and what I'm doing at the moment. So I'll be something to do in the future. I was debating. I was talking to Glenn. We were talking about having a look for some plants and me turning that tank into a planted tank with rainbows, but I mean, it's something I could do, but I want to kind of, it's no secret, I want to get back into goldfish. That's why I'm sharing I've been building up my other channel, which was my original channel, because I started off with goldfish on that channel, and for some reason it just seems right to post goldfish stuff on that channel still, because I've always had goldfish subs and stuff on there, and I don't know whether that makes sense. It must make sense, but it's always been my goldfish channel, and I've got goldfish content on there from like 10 years ago, so it kind of feels rude not to post my goldfish content on there. So but I would like to get some ponds set up, and I'd like to, there's Sweet Acres Koi Farm. I was looking at some of their ponds and stuff, and I was thinking there's some ideas I can pinch here. apply to my goldfish. Because for me, I've done all the, I was saying this yesterday, I've done all the fancy goldfish, like the short, stocky, double-tailed, round-bodied goldfish. And I think I'm over them because they're not, they're so hard to keep because they're just bred with deformities, aren't they? So you can do everything right and still lose fish. Like, you can spend an absolute fortune. I think at one point I was ordering fish for like 100 quid a fish for adults, ranchu and aranda, and then I'd have them a few months, and then they start getting buoyancy issues, and within a month they'd have like sores where they'd been floating at the surface and they hadn't been eaten. So I built a raised pond via koi. I've got the ruins of a pond just here. I think it was like 12 foot by about 8 foot by 4 foot deep. And it kind of got half removed, and there's like one wall under the bush still, and then the base of it with the bottom drain still, and it's kind of like it's kind of like a random patio area that just kind of informally turned into a patio area kind of thing. But I don't know, I've missed that pond, and it was just great because you got so much water volume with goldfish. You could just swap and change fish in your tanks and stuff. If you ever were stuck for space, there was no problem just dropping a tank full of fish in the pond. And it was like 20,000 litres or something. I can't remember the volume, but there was that much water volume. You wasn't upsetting anything. But I did have like tanks full of goldfish at one time, and I'll tell you that I really enjoy his content, and I need to catch up with them more. Watching it is Stubbsy with his, Jeff calls them his Stubbunkins. But that's a guy's brain I'd like to pick, because he's breeding them like they're going out of fashion, and like that's something I kept goldfish for 20 years, but they were just kind of like hobby, kind of in a tank and just water changes and fed, and I never applied any effort into kind of, I don't think I was that experienced at the time to be able to do stuff like that, or even attempt stuff like that. It was just a case of they were just pet fish. And now I feel like if I sit down and watch Stubbsy's content and stuff, pick his brain maybe, then I can have a go at doing it myself. And it's definitely one of the things I want to get ticked off me, what you call it, off my to-do list for me hobby. So I've kind of, all like Walstad stuff and stuff like that, I've done that. I'd already done that. It was kind of YouTube's algorithm dragged me back into the Walstad method, and I think it was like the tanks were big at the time, wasn't he? And Patty was doing them, and I loved Patty's content. I said this yesterday, like, it seems like a genuinely nice guy, and he genuinely enjoys doing what he's doing, and I enjoy watching him experiment and stuff. So, there was that, but I'd already been through that. Obviously, like, the Walstad method solves problems that don't exist in the hobby anymore, because we've got LED lights now, we got CO2, we got liquid fertilizers. Tom Barr solved that problem years ago. So, and Amana with, I think it was with CO2. So all the problems that solved back in the day don't exist now anymore anyway. So we've got Aquasoil, we've got everything you need now. So, but I used to enjoy playing with them. It was Dustin from Dustin's Fish Tank, watching all his content, kind of, and I was in a goldfish forum, and there was an old geezer on there that was banging to growing Amazon swords in plant pots in his fish tank. So I think I went from watching I was watching Coco's, and then I was on Coco's forum, and we're all sharing pictures of goldfish back on internet 1.0, and then I seen Dustin's thing where he was talking about he had this massive, I think it was 220-gallon tank, I think he said it was. And he had this massive tank. Well, to me, it was massive. It's like it's like a nano tank compared to Gill's machine that he's building. But he had this massive crinum, and like he said, I grew old. Like he was just talking about his dirty tanks, and he started talking about Diana Walstad. And I bought the book, started reading it, and then I was on UK Aquatic Plant Society, which is like George Farmer and stuff like that. And there was old school guys on there at the time who'd been messing around with planted tanks. They used to order like custom built, like 12-inch tall tanks so they could get natural CO2 gassing into the system. And they used to set it up so they had siestas, so they'd have like the lights on for 4 hours, lights off for 4 hours. And I just picked their brain about it. Like, if I get interested in something, I'd get obsessed in it, and I'll research it for months of months. And I always find the best thing to do is once you've read stuff on the topic, once you learnt the theory, or you get to a point where you can explain the theory to someone, then it's best off going to find, in my case, like now, I understand all the theory of breeding goldfish, but like you can know all the theory, but one experienced person who's been there, like Stubbsy with breeding goldfish, the knowledge he'll have is worth like $1,000, in my opinion. It's just you can read books all day and still not have that. You can tell you textbook in a perfect world how things will work, and then you just get that one thing, don't you, that goes wrong, and that experienced person usually has solved that problem. And those people in the hobby are worth, like rocking horse poo sometimes, aren't they? They're worth the weight in gold. And I feel like they're getting rarer these days, these like long-serving hobbyists, they're really experienced guys who just kind of usually tend to hide in a shed, not me. But you tend to find them like they just have like a little fish room and they just pot around. Other in the UK, I'm kind of over planted tanks now, getting really interested in blackwater. Yeah, I think, like, I definitely agree with what you're saying there. Like, I'm really into blackwater. The first time I set this tank up, I set it up as blackwater, but it wasn't real blackwater. It was kind of an aquarium with tannins in it. It wasn't like true blackwater where you start lowering the pH and stuff. And I'd love to have a go at that, because I used to be an industrial cleaner, and I've purified like thousands and thousands of litres of water, so I'd love to be able to do that and have a go. And I've read about people using like peat moss to lower the pH, and using like CO2 to drop the pH and stuff like that. So it fascinates me, the whole blackwater thing. But for me, I'm used to the likes of goldfish and African cichlids, which are like, bacteria doesn't really bother them. I have a hamster and it looks fat like you. Fair enough. Hello. I'm honoured to look like your hamster. But, interesting comment. But yeah, I definitely would love to try it. And I'll tell you, Big Fish Lad, you've seen him with he had Ultims, didn't he? And Rio Nane and his Heckleye, stuff like that. If I hadn't seen, I knew about angels, but I didn't understand angels to the level he did. And talking to him, about it and seeing his tanks just like opened a completely different side of the hobby to me. I think, didn't you have was it a chocolate cichlid or something like that? Like seeing them South American cichlids was just like a completely different world to me, because I was used to the Africans, which, you know, don't get me wrong, I love them, but there's something about them South American cichlids. Like, a friend of mine had heckle eye, and oh my god, they were stunning. The Geophagus I had, they were a fish I'd wanted to keep for years, and I'd got them. They used to call them earth eaters, didn't they? The red-head tapajos. I think they've got a different something, cephalus, which is is it paracephalus, which would mean firehead in Latin. I remember him. I'd got to the point where they were starting to breed, and there was a guy who was breeding them in my local area, and he'd literally flooded every shop and every hobbyist with a redhead tapajo. So if I'd have bred mine, there was literally nowhere where the fry could have gone. So I kind of got to the point where I thought, well, I'll move them on. Almost all my fish are South American. See, not me, I think, I don't know whether you've seen it, there's a fish keeping group on Facebook called Amazonia, not the guy who's breeding them, paracephalus, which literally just translates to firehead, doesn't it? I think. I know cephalus is head. I paid thousands and thousands of pounds for university to teach me that. Fill me full of useless knowledge. That sounds very clever, being able to speak Latin, until you realise no one else speaks Latin and it's a dead language. But yeah, so I ended up on that. My friend set that group up and then invited me. But like, that was such an education to me, seeing what everyone else was doing. And there's like plecos, cories, tetras, rams, discus, like it all fell into place. And I was like, wow, what? Because I'd always been focused on Africa, and then I suppose maybe Asia with the goldfish and stuff. But that's more, to me, the hobby's more like what people are doing nowadays with Caladina shrimp, you know, with the breeding and you're in that group, Gil. That's, I love that group. It took off. I think the good thing was, I think when we started it, there was a nice big fish lad come on there, and he shared it, and there was a couple of other, I think you were one of the guys who's come in. But there was like a nice mix of YouTubers, content creators, and local lads that near me that breed. Like there's a guy who's like can't say the word, prolific angelfish and pleco and cory breeder by him, and rams. He does black rams. And I tell you what, and my mate Phil set that group up and then added me. I don't know whether he added me as an admin or a moderator, but God, it just took off, that channel. It's kind of slowed down now, not channel, the page. But I think we hit like 10,000 followers in like 12 months. It was insane. But I'd say like the group of guys in that group was amazing. Like obviously we had a lot of great content creators come in there. And everyone was too modest, I feel like, because Glenn was breeding a pistos, wasn't he? And I was like, post you a pisto content in the Amazonia group. Yeah, do you know, Gil, like, I had me Rio Nane, didn't I? And my friend who has the group, he wanted the Rio Nane off me to breed them, and I'd grown them out to a breeding size. I've already given him the Manica Peru that were in here, and then I given them as well the Rio Nane. And the guy I bought the Rio Nane, and the guy, his name's Paul's Fish Room. He's on YouTube. He's got about 1,500 subs, and he said he'd never got Rio Nane to spawn. He's never seen anyone spawn Rio Nane as fast as I did, which is a complete fluke, by the way. I did nothing. There was no skill in getting them to breed. In fact, the one thing I can say that might have done it was everyone commented on how well Phil could breed angels, and his whole secret was temperatures. He was keeping he was holding the temperatures higher than, excuse me, a lot of other angelfish breeders would keep them, and he'd feed more and stuff. So I just kind of followed his advice, and maybe that's what got them to spawn. But that Paul commented on how fast that got them to breed, which, as I say, from my point of view, there was no skill involved in me doing that. But that Paul contacted me one day, and he bred Santa Isabella angels, and he asked me if I wanted them free of charge, and I had no room for them. I was absolutely gutted. And every local fish shop around by me now, there must be 4 or 5 within a 10-20 minute drive. 4 or 5 fish shops have got Santa Isabel, or Santa Isabella, however you pronounce it, angels. I'm convinced they're the ones that Paul bred. But I'm sure Paul's in the group. And some of the angels that are floating around here are amazing. We've got a guy up in, I don't know whether you've ever heard of Premier Aquatics, but there's a guy up that way. And last time I spoke to him, he was breeding Pinoys and Bulgarian seal points. And they're 2 fish that I'm usually more drawn to, the wild angels and discus, apart from checkerboards with discus, sorry. But those guys up there, that like some of the angels he's breeding are absolutely amazing. But funny enough, I've never seen any of his angels in the local shops. I'm convinced the Rio Nane that were going around, although they said they were wild, I'm convinced they came from Paul. Hello, Samantha. Hi, good. How is everyone in the chat? I'm keeping an eye on the chat. I love this. I got this. Good. I love the Australian accent. I keep getting like little so on this, obviously I'm keeping an eye on me chat on it on this screen, because there's always a delay, and 2, it starts buffering. But I've got completely different numbers on the screen to what I've got on here, which I always find bizarre. It's Tuesday today, isn't it? Do you set up a firm time with Jeff to stream? I didn't, good. I was hoping if we were going to go on, actually, come to think of it now, like, I've been pushing that, my personal, like, goldfish kind of YouTube channel. I've been pushing that to try and get it to 50. We got it to 42 this morning, dropped down to 38. And I was thinking of using that channel to stream with Jeff, and I thought that's a little unfair I think, actually, because, you know, obviously this channel's got subs on, a lot of subs, so I think I'll do it on this one, so, you know, people go over and sub to Jeff, won't they? Because Jeff deserves it. He doesn't half help everyone out. The amount of people he's pushed to grow the channels for them, and, you know, so I think I'll go with this, but I haven't set up a firm time or anything yet. I kind of said this evening, but he's asked me to go on last night, he's asked me to go on this morning. So hopefully this evening, or he doesn't he do his Wednesday one tomorrow, doesn't he? The AAA one, Aquatic, I can't even say it, Aquatic Addicts Anonymous. So hopefully, my tell Jeff is very early morning for you. Here's, I literally get up for work. I get up for work about 4 or 5 o'clock here, and Jeff's usually still going on his night shift on his online, which, like, fair dues to him. He does some serious live streaming, like. And Ron seems to do a lot now, doesn't he? And it's nice because I think when I was at the peak of my live stream, and I think I tended to end up on a lot of other people's live streams rather than my own, and give Jeff his due. He always pushed me to do them on mine. Excuse me. But he's a cracking guy, Jeff. And he doesn't half help you out behind the scenes and stuff. So, and the thing I really appreciated was the fact that it was Big Fish Lad who shared me and Jeff at the same time as we were starting to grow our channels, and I kind of found Jeff that way. And it's been nice to see, because there was a group of us who kind of started together, wasn't there? Or there or thereabouts. There was me, there was Jeff, there was Glenn. Was kind of, I was doing shrimp content on my channel, and I went to find someone. I was looking on Facebook for a shrimp keeping, and I think I was drawn to the shrimp. Yeah, I think because I'm off this week, I think I'll see if he's up to do a couple. If he's got like a gang of lads or lads and lasses he wants to do a stream with, I wouldn't mind doing one of them, and I wouldn't mind getting Jeff on my channel as well, because as I say, I think I've had Rob, Mr. Fishbird, when he was on YouTube. He's on TikTok now, I think, but last time I looked for him, he wasn't there, but now he is, apparently. But I had him on a live, and then I had Glenn. I think I had Glenn on a couple, and, you know, Jeff's always pushed me to do a live on my channel, so it'd be nice to get him on and have a chat with him. I would like to make up a better place to live stream and film. It's just, I will get around to it. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to do ponds, I think, because it gives you more room. I'm like very cramped. I've got this, and then my spare bedroom, and then I've got my big tank in the living room, and I find I can't film that half the time because there's glare, because the sun comes along the front of the house, and you just can't see in the tank when it's like half the day. So I have to wait till like autumn, winter till I can, or late at night, to catch any footage of it. But it will be nice to, I wouldn't mind doing a couple. I wouldn't mind catching up with Jeff and Ron. And there's a guy, isn't there, that Jeff's had on a few times lately, that is a Prodigal Aquatics. He seems like an interesting guy. Was it Goodyears he was saying? He does a lot of promoting for the British Live Bearer Society or Association. which is a it's a very like prestigious club. Craig and Rob are on TikTok a lot, and they have a good community. They're having a good time. I don't go on it anymore. But like Craig and Rob are like two lads I really appreciate. Like I really like Rob. Obviously I've done a lot of talking to him behind the scenes. When I first went on Glenn's Facebook, it was the Shrimp Fanatics that drew me to it, and I joined, and it was Rob that was helping me out at first. Glenn was more into like the Carabiner side of things, I think, and all the stuff involved with setting up Carabiner tanks and like problems with Carabinas, and that, obviously I was more interested in Neos, so but Rob helped me out with all that. And then Craig's, I like Craig. He's another like nice lad, isn't he? And like the size of his. Girl, take care, mate. Hopefully, if I'm on live, I'll see you soon. If not, I'm gonna check out some of your content. What's that? That build video again, because that's a serious piece of kit, and I'm very jealous of the size of it. But yeah, it's definitely going to try and catch up with him, because Jeff asked me a lot to live stream, and I enjoy talking to Jeff. Last time I done a live stream with him, I was in the living room and everyone was upstairs, and I was really conscious of the fact that I was talking in the living room, and it was about 10-11 o'clock at night at the time, and I thought it's not really, it was making me conscious of the fact that I was talking. So I think Jeff picked up on it as well, because he commented on it after we'd finished the live. He asked me was I nervous, and so it wasn't really nerves. It was more a case of like being aware of everyone else was asleep in the house, my little lad. And yes, UK invasion, Rob, Glenn, Dave, and yourself. I need to figure out how to stop this thing here. See? I need to figure out how to deal with that. That's not very good, is it? I don't understand why. The light is quite close, but I deliberately put it close because I thought it would be better for filming, and apparently not. What? God, do you know what time Jeff's usually about during the day? Because I don't want to. I assume he'll be asleep now, because. But he finished that live stream this morning, and like as he finished it, I had to get my little lad ready for school and stuff. The world's worst lurk. No, there's definitely worse lurkers out there than you, girl. Yeah, good. I've had people mention that they've seen me live streams and I haven't even said hello, which, yeah, it is what it is. But I wouldn't say you're the worst, at least you say hello. But as I say, I kind of got my little lad ready for school this morning, like took him to school and then come back and thought, well, it's a bit late to be messaging Jeff now. He might be still on his side of things, so I don't know what time he'll be up and about. But I can message him, because he has a habit of asking you last minute, doesn't he, to go live, which To be honest, I'm alright with, aren't I? I can, now I've got all this set up, so I might just play it by ear. I wouldn't mind going on tomorrow if Ron's on, and see if I can get someone else. Is that who Gil meant by saying, when he mentioned Dave, is that Prodigal? After 7 here, between 10 and 11. Right, okay. So I'll keep an eye out for him. I'll make sure he's online, but before I message him, and then I'll arrange something. Done. Right, okay. Does he do the similar type of setups to Ron then? Where, it's just like a community planted tank, isn't it? Where he just puts substrate in, a load of plants, and then a few fish, and lets them crack on with breeding and stuff. So I set this up, didn't I? And it's driving me up the wall, waiting for it to cycle at the moment, because, as I say, this is like a pre-project. I just want to get stuff into cycle, to quarantine. And the fact that the temperature, it was up near 20 and now it's back down to 10, so obviously the beneficial bacteria in this tank will have slowed right down. But we're in no rush. I really like this tank. It's exactly the same measurements as a dual Rio, but it's made by Aquatic, I think it's pronounced. And it's a really sturdy tank. It had a filter in the corner, and I spent a good few years trying to get the filter out. Like a box filter, it had none of the filtration, didn't have the pump, any heater or anything with it. It was just this box. It might be around here somewhere, but it was just like, must have been 6-9 inches maybe in the corner, and tried so hard to get like what do you call it, through the bottom guitar string and everything, to try and cut it. And I've tried like chef knives, and I've got little chef's knives and stuff, and nothing I ever did would get under it. And then in the end I just kind of brute force pulled it slowly, and it peeled away from the bottom. But it's like the bottom of the filter had like a little groove in it, and it's like they put silicone in the groove and then pushed the filter onto the glass. So like the filter was actually sat on the glass, and you couldn't get the silicone underneath. Well, luckily I got it out. If the whole filter had been there when I bought the tank, I'd have kept it, but it was a second-hand tank. I actually went to pick up a dual Rio 180 and ended up, she had the Rio 180 she said she was going to give me eventually, but she'd emptied this one out instead of the Rio, and she'd never contacted me about the Rio, and I never seen it advertised. So I was a bit disappointed, because I thought I was getting my hand on two. I like these. I've got the Rio 180 there, but the seal's gone on it. But if I'm outdoors with it, I can just reseal it, can't I? Because the seal's gone about three quarters of the way up. So if it ever goes, it doesn't. It's like a drip. So it's not catastrophic. It's not like the whole tank's gone empty. But I really do like these tanks. And obviously I've got the Rio. Doesn't take much, does it, to take the beading off the inside, clean it down with acetone and reseal them. Cannot remember Dave's channel name. Easier for me to remember the first names for me. I think That's one of the things I find. I recognise everyone's channel's names, and then like I struggle remembering the names. So I think you either do one or the other. You either remember the channels or. But then I relate to everyone's. I'll go and watch the content. So I think that's how I tend to remember them, is by the content and what they're doing in the hobby. Yeah, that's what I suppose people always keep the name, don't they? I suppose I've been guilty of that, haven't I, lately? I changed my name from Aquatic Fanatics. My girlfriend jokingly called me the Wolf of Walstad, and I thought I've got to use that name as like L.R. Brett, doesn't he? He changes after it his name. He'll put like something. I used to put like the exotic algae collector, or the pest snail breeder or something after my name, and I just put Aquatic Fanatics, the Wolf of Walstad. And as soon as Jeff seen it, he loved it, and there was someone else who was like, thought that, like, just raved about it. And then I was looking at data on my channel. There's like a website where you can have a look at your channel, like behind the scenes, and it was saying that my channel was getting messed up because there's a pond suppliers down by London where Prodigal is somewhere near there, and they're called UK Aquatic Fanatics with an I instead of an A. But apparently, like, Google or one of these like search engines was trying to combine my content with their website. Like, they were trying to piece it together, and it was causing like problems with the search engines or something. I'm not tech savvy, but so I thought I'll just delete it and see what happens. And like, I just noticed like a massive drop in people watching my content and people subbing, so I just put it back on. But as I say, like, the other channel I was on Jeff's this morning, that's been so this channel I set up specifically. I was talking to Paul Big Fish Lad. I watched one of his videos, the one with Simon with his monster tank, and Simon lives maybe 3-4 miles that way from me, and I'd seen his tanks, and then I'd seen him on Paul's video, and I just said to him, I'd love to be a YouTuber, I'd love to be a content creator. And he said, just do it. So I set this channel up on the fly and just did like the videos on the channel. You can go see my first video, and Paul watched it, he shared it, and within a week I had about 35 subs, and a lot of them were people like Jeff and stuff like that, and I really enjoyed that time, making content and jumping on people's lives. Adam Seven Tanks was around then. He's kind of gone off now a bit, hasn't he, on his own direction. So at the time he was on like Jeff's lives and stuff like that, but I think he's in with bigger content creators now. So, but I still reaches out every now and again, Adam, and asks me how I am and stuff, and checks in on me and stuff. So I appreciate that, and he's only over the other side of the water, isn't he? So there's the local connection in that. So but it's always nice to see how he's getting on. But he's not really in the same circle anymore as he's with a couple of aquascapers now and that. So I think that's more of his what he's interested in, isn't it? Is like is aquascaping and display tanks. Whereas me, I try to enjoy display tanks, but I just mess around with tanks too much. I don't really. Anything that's not in the living room gets treated like a pond to me. It never makes sense to have like a shed and keep the tanks immaculate to me. So, but yeah, different strokes for different folks, as they say. But he's into like the aquascaping, isn't he, and Adam and stuff like that. So, it makes sense that he's in with other people who are interested in that sort of stuff. Adam does TikTok too. I deleted my TikTok, or I assume I did. There was something about it I wasn't appreciating. I can't remember what it was. Might have been something Glenn said to me or something, and it just wasn't on there. And I thought, I think it was the fact that I was already doing stuff for YouTube and Facebook, and I was kind of posting my stuff from Facebook onto Instagram, and I thought that I haven't got time to be maintaining, another form of social media. At the time, it was like far too much, but I can't remember whether I deleted it or just took the app off my phone. But I suppose I could go in, because there's a lot of people that I'd like to keep in touch with that are on TikTok now rather than YouTube. So, but then some of them go on to Facebook as well. But I suppose I'm already on there, so that's not a big deal for me. But Rob, I don't really see Rob on Facebook or YouTube anymore. So it'd be nice to catch up and see what he's up to, because I haven't seen his room since he had the discus, didn't he, next to his bed. And they were coming on nice last time I seen them. But then I think he said he had like Pinoy angels or some sort of angelfish. He'd give his discus to, I think it was Charlotte, and then moved on to angels, which is a similar fish, but they got different behaviours, haven't they? I think. From what I've kept, like my discus used to just sit in the corner in my tank, whereas the angels are a lot more active than that. So I've been watching Craig forever, like 6 years, his fourth housemate. Has Craig moved out the house he was in where he had the doors he opened? Hello, Mr. G. that's another name. So many names are popping up that I'm so happy to see them in the chat. Like I haven't seen them for ages. Some of the names I'm seeing. How are we? Joe, I always put it down to that magic hour mark. If you get to the hour, names pop up, don't they? Long time no see. Hope you're good. I am very good, sir. How are you? Are you all right? As I say, I'd shut all this room down at 9. I've kind of got the itch and dragged this tank back in, and I've got a project I'm working on. So I'm just getting this tank cycled, and I'm going to do a bit of quarantining in this tank, do some content. I'm surviving. That's the main thing, isn't it? But it's nice to see familiar faces in the chat. Like, I think I went from split shifts. I used to do split shifts, and then I'd have like a day in work, I'd do an early, a late, next day off. And then I just got put on 12-hour shifts, and I'd do like 3 days in work, 2 days off. And the first day off, I was just like done. And when I've had weeks off, I've kind of spliced a load of content together and pushed it out. Usually Glenn was hounding me to get it done, so I get some stuff done while I was off, and he'd help me splice and dice. And Craig moved from the water, luckily, because there was a major flood in the air. Damn. That gaff Craig had was like seriously impressive, wasn't it? With the you had the doors you could open, you could see all the fish tanks. We just don't get houses in the UK like they get over in the States and over in Oz. Shifts would kill me. I'm basically semi-retired now, more holidays than the king. Do you know, that's... I'm hoping to kind of do the same thing soon. Because I've done the maths and I was like, if I went part-time, I'd basically be on the same wage. So what's the point in working 20 hours a week for a couple of quid more when I could be, which is what kicked me off setting up this tank off. I thought I'm going to have more time on my hands. I can achieve stuff I've never achieved. I've been too busy to do stuff over the years and moved on. I've been that's like what I'm up to now. I'm getting this set up. I've got a few projects going and I want to kind of spend the summer that's what I'm doing. Like you're talking to the right guy. That's kind of what I'm doing, following hard. Jesus, my foreman in work just had stents put in after that. He was having hot, like, pains in his chest in work, and we kind of... I'm Martin. Yeah, he got shipped off to hospital after the shift, and he said if he'd gone home, he wouldn't have... he wouldn't have had a very good time at home. So he went up to hospital and they caught it early and they fitted stents. If you remember Gerard Houllier, he went straight to the same hospital Gerard Houllier went to, so that was his big claim to fame. But that's my goal. I've kind of been ramping up my content. I've been posting shorts. This is my second day live. I watched Adam's live last night. I watched TK. I watched his live last night. I watched Jeff's live last night. I watched Gil's. Bill, I was watching that this morning. So I'm on an award with the threat guy. Which guy was that? Was you were on an award with the Tourette's guy? Do you mean the guy from the documentaries? What's his name? The Scottish one. The I Swear film. That was based on the Scottish guy from Gala. Johnny Davis. Oh, I'd love to meet that guy. I'd be starstruck if I met him, because I remember I've watched there was 2 documentaries, wasn't there? I watched both of them, and then I watched the I Swear. And oh my god, that guy was the spit. The guy who played Johnny Davison's the spit of Johnny Davison. I thought at times, I thought it was him, and he nailed his tics. But wow, like that's some old, like, thinking about, like, that was a proper old school, like, was it BBC or Channel 4 documentary? I used to love them documentaries. And just, like, he was popping up every few years, wasn't he, on a different documentary? And obviously now, because of what he's done to it, raise awareness of Tourette's, like, he's kind of just famous now, isn't he, in the UK? So I can't believe you. So did you meet Johnny Davison? To me, that'd have been like meeting David Beckham. I'm hitting the shower to start the day, Keith. Have a great day off. Thanks very much, Gord. We're now at 10 now. I'm going to call it quits as well for now. A pacemaker in for... Damn. He seems like one of the nicest guys ever, and he's probably... Everything I've seen and heard about him, like watching and on stuff, he's probably had one of the hardest lives I've ever heard of, with suffering with it, you know, not with the Tourette, more with how people treated him with the Tourette's, like. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up, guys. We're an hour and 10 in. Like, I want to try and get hold of Jeff from Jeff Palms, and see if I can sort something out for tomorrow. If not tomorrow night. So I'll wrap it up for now. I'll probably be back on in the morning. I'll probably do... Mate, I'm made up to see you in the chat. There's like, I need to catch up with everyone. I need to catch up with everyone who supported me. I've kind of had 12 months where I was working like 3 days on, and I'd have 2 days off. The first day off, I just like crash. I wouldn't move. I just like just be sat in my lazy boy, just relaxing because that is non-stop. I'm a docker, so it's just doing 3 days of 12-hour shifts on the docks, and then you get home the first day, it's just a write-off. Like, you sleep till like lunchtime, and body clocks all over the place. So like, it was literally like I had 1 day off a week. So, but now I'm kind of reducing my hours, and I'm ramping up the content. I want to do a good couple of projects this summer. I want to do a load of live streaming. I've noticed a lot of people have disappeared off the live streaming, as I was saying before. I think they've gone on TikTok. I don't think I'll be going over there. I want to stay on YouTube. My goal's always been YouTube. It's always been like, I enjoy YouTube and I want to stay on this platform. So it's a big achievement to me to get where I've got on YouTube, and I'd like to carry it on. The goal for me was always like, I never thought to get to 1,000. Even though Big Fish Lad always pushed me and told me like I'd smash it, and give him his due. Like, I think he did I think he found 500 of the first 1,000 of my subs. So like, he's done so much for this channel, as did Glenn. Glenn like hounded me to make content, and then he'd, you know, do all the thumbnails, and I think he's even written me scripts. I think he's even edited a few of my videos. So like, without them two, I don't think I'd have made the first 1,000. But this summer I'm going to make loads more content. I'm going back to, because I know everyone's going into marine, and I've done marine, so I'm kind of like, while they all go off and do that, I want to go back to my roots. I'm not doing any more Walstad content, or if I do, it's just setting up a tank, and I might mention it now and again, but like, I'm done with all that. I was already done with it, so I just kind of, the algorithm dragged me into it, and like, there was a big tribal warfare with it. So, and that's not what I set out to do when I joined YouTube. So I've done my bit. My videos are there. If people want to watch them, they're there. But while everyone's going into the marine and stuff, I want to go back to like my roots and do all the stuff that I never achieved in my first 20 years. And it was more of a progression. And then after my first 20 years was kind of influenced. All my mates wanted me to go done marine, and then got him influenced into African cichlids, done all that. And then I just bounced from pillar to post, pinching fish off people, breeding them, and then actually we're not far off from where I started on this channel. Then after me African cichlids, I think I shut them down maybe 3 years before I started the YouTube channel. So, but I want to go back to everything I did before marine and achieve all that, because it's a bucket list thing for me. And I'm going to start. That was like a 20-year journey in a straight line with no influence I wasn't swapping and changing. It was just one straight line. So I want to go back and pick up from where I left off, basically, and share it with people and find other content creators like Stubbsy from Stubbs Aquatics with his shabunkins and his ponds and his koi. Ties in perfectly to where I was. And I've done a bit of it on my channel with like the likes of fancy goldfish, but I wouldn't go back into fancies because you can do everything right with them and still lose fish to deformities. So, but I want to do like a lot of pond stuff and messing around with building filters and all the old school stuff. That's what I want to get done this summer. Like, even if I just grow some fish out this summer, but that's my goal. And I'll start making more content, do more lives, do more shorts, and just enjoy it, because I really miss not being able to do YouTube as much. And just, I ain't a content creator, but I always remember Mark Shrimp Tanks saying the clue's in the name, YouTube. Yeah, I like Mark. I remember he blew up, didn't he? He had like a crystal shrimp video years ago, and he blew up. And I subbed to him off that video, and I always check in on him and see where he's up to, because he's the first pit. Do what you enjoy and what you passionate. That's totally true, that, mate. I was getting, because you set your channel up, I'll be honest, I don't know whether people understand this, but you set your channel up and you post videos, and I was quite fortunate because I had Big Fish Lab pushing me, so I had like a few people who were checking out my first few videos. But sometimes you can post like videos and just no one watches them when you first got going, and then you start getting a few people watching, and then the algorithm will pull you into something. And I know I've seen people commenting on, like, you see content creators and they'll be like dabbling with, say, like blackwater and planted tanks and maybe a marine. They'll have like a few little things that they're playing with, and then the algorithm will pick them up on one thing, and then they'll just make content in that direction. It drags you. And a lot of people, I know there's a lot of people who watch this content like commenting the negative about it, but I can understand it, because if you're putting hours and hours into making content and nothing's happening, and then the algorithm like picks you up on that thing, the algorithm expects more of that from you, and the people who watched you will watch that content, so it kind of pulls you on a tangent. And that kind of, to be honest, that's kind of what happened to me with the Walstad method. I didn't want to necessarily make Walstad content. I made a Walstad hack video where I was talking about floating plants, and it just kind of dragged me into it, and like, it was massive at the time. So yeah, it just, well, as I say, I don't want to go back into that. Like, I was over that like 10 years ago, maybe, or 5 years ago, and then like the algorithm dragged me into it. And I understand, like, it happens to other people and then they get criticized for it, but you can't help it. Sometimes when you're a content creator and you're getting going, you've got no audience, and the next minute the algorithm finds you an audience. So, but yeah, I'm gonna get going now. What are we on? An hour and 20. I'm trying to do little and often with the live streams at the moment. Just do like half an hour, and just get on regularly, because the algorithm, or YouTube, should I say, gets used to seeing you live, and then it starts putting you in the right places. And I appreciate the names that I'm seeing in the chat, the people that I've missed talking to and seeing in my comment section and stuff. So, but the worst thing about going live, it's usually the second hour everyone starts coming on. But I'm going to leave it here. I'm probably going to be on Jeff's live tonight if I can catch up with him. If not, it'll be tomorrow night. I'll probably be on in the morning for maybe half an hour, an hour. But Martin, take care. I'll speak to you soon, mate. All right. Ciao.